If I told you the MVP of the league was not determined by how good someone is in the regular season, the MVP or the real MVP of the league always shows up in the playoffs. The guy who, when it comes down to crunch time, that's the guy you want on your team. That's the guy who makes the big play. That's the guy who gets to the finals. You would all think I'm talking about LeBron, and you'd probably be right. I've already discussed is LeBron the MVP every year simply because he's the best player in the league. And there's a case to be made for that. There was a case to be made for Michael Jordan when he was the best player in the league. I also talked about a few weeks ago, if we're using the logic of how we elevate LeBron as saying because he does these certain things and that's why he's the MVP, I made the case for Steph Curry. And to show complete objectivity here, using my big words, I made a video even before that saying Kawhi Leonard was the MVP because as a fan and personally, I think Kawhi Leonard does more MVP things than LeBron or Curry did this year because I do believe it is a regular season award along with how well you're playing and how well you're playing against elite competition. Well, let's take the same logic that because you're the best, you should be the MVP. Let's take that logic and let's use it for coaches. You know what coach consistently, year after year, is shown to be the best? You know what coach year after year is getting to finals? Coach is consistently out coaching and making other guys look like they should be at a high school level. I don't know about you, but I saw a game last night where Greg Poppovic completely outcoached, outsmarted, and dominated Mike D'Antoni, and they weren't in the same league. Not even in the same league. Mike D'Antoni's probably going to win Coach of the Year because, Lord forbid, if Eric Spoelstra wins it, I'm sorry. I don't care how good their second half of the season was. You can't win Coach of the Year just because you got to 500. That doesn't work. Could you imagine an 8-8 team in the NFL having their coach win Coach of the Year? I mean, if you're on the Browns, sure, I'll give you that because that's just its own shit show and dumpster fire. Greg Popovich, year after year in the playoffs, when it counts, is the best coach in the league. He outcoaches the quote-unquote best coaches in the league. And if that's the case we make for LeBron, then Greg Popovich should be the coach of the year every year. There's been a lot of talk this week comparing him and Bill Belichick, and I've got my own view on Bill Belichick, but regardless, stats are stats. The numbers are there. Those are the two most dominant professional sport head coaches that we have in America. Not going to talk about hockey. I don't know enough about hockey. There might be some dude in hockey who's won like 5 Stanley Cups, and I just don't know about it. This show's not for hockey. If you like hockey, there's other shows for you. And I know I said I wasn't going to bring it up as much anymore, but I just get really irritated. For as great as LeBron is, we just created, there used to be the Jordan rules when he was playing, how teams defended him and how teams played him, where at one point, hey, if he's got 30 points in the third quarter and we're down by 20, we're elbowing him in the neck. That was part of the Jordan rules. In the media, there's the LeBron rules. Hey, LeBron had a bad game? Don't talk about it. Hey, no. We're going to talk about the guys around him struggled, and he's just too great, and the other guys around him played so bad, his greatness wasn't able to elevate them to all-time standards. But don't worry, he'll do it tomorrow night. Promise, guys. And it's like there's just no room for criticism, and there's no room for objectivity on LeBron. Mike D'Antoni did a hell of a job in Houston this year. Mike D'Antoni's a really nice head coach. He doesn't know a damn thing about defense. Don't even think he knows how to use the letter D. Like, his name is Mike D'Antoni. Like, probably going to get Coach of the Year simply for the improvement Houston had over last year. You know, that was the case for Harden winning MVP. The improvement over last year. You know why guys like Greg Poppovic and Bill Belichick don't get to get Coach of the Years? Because they don't have this curve that they're improving on. They don't go, in Bill Belichick's case, 3-13, 4-12, and then rebound and make the playoffs next year, and everyone goes, oh my gosh, what a great coaching job. Greg Popovich doesn't have years where he's not winning 50, 60 games. They've won 50 games for the last 20 years. That's incredible. That's 1,000 wins over my lifetime. I don't know what it's like to see a San Antonio Spurs team do bad. I just don't. And when it counts, when he's in the playoffs, when it's crunch time, when he needs to drop a play, he needs a timeout, he needs to get in a guy's face, he needs to push the right button, he gets it. It does not matter if it's Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, does not matter. He did not have Kawhi Leonard last night. Who's a top 3, top 4 player? I mean, I talked earlier in the week about Kevin Durant being better than him, and I do believe that. But Kawhi Leonard is a top 3, top 4 player. The best player on that team by far. And he wins by 40 points. When you are so good in your profession, you make other guys just look like a joke by comparison. And Ike D'Antoni at this point, he's just throwing the white flag when he gets matched up with Greg Popovich. He's 0-5 now. Last 5 times he plays. It's just, you know what? It's like, hey, can't do it, guys. Had a good run. He's got his number. He's the best coach in the league. And he's consistently doing the best in primetime spots, in big spots. Started the players resting trend, which you can say how you want about that, but that trend affects the entire league now. Because when you're really good, people want to be like you. And for all of my LeBron lovers out there, LeBron said he was the greatest coach of all time. So take that one.